Okay, we're going to go over the calculations for station 2, and in order to do this, I'm using some fake data, so don't use all the numbers that I'm using. I'll let you know which numbers that you should use from your data and which numbers we should all use because they're constants. So I'll guide you through that, but make sure you're using the numbers from your data when it's appropriate. Okay, so first thing first, the data that I'm going to use is that I'm going to say that the mass of the candle before burning was 10 grams. Okay, so you might have a different number here, and that's fine. Use that number. Don't change yours. Use your number. All right, and then I'm going to say after the burning the candle, the mass of the candle after the burning was 9 grams. Okay, so again, if you have different numbers here, that's totally appropriate. Keep those numbers, and you're just going to substitute. Whenever I put 10, you put your number that you have here. If I put 9, you put your number here. And then the other number that wasn't measured but actually was calculated is the mass of the candle wax that was burned. This number comes from subtracting this number minus this number. So in this case, it's 1 gram. For you, it would be different probably. So whatever you have, this number minus this number, you put that number there. Okay, now the first question, we're all gonna have the same because we're getting our information from the periodic table. Okay, so if we wanna find the mass, the molar mass of paraffin, we're going to use this chemical formula here. It's not exactly, wax is way more complex than what this shows, but this is a pretty good substitute to represent the chemical formula for wax. So C25 and H52, the 25 means there's 25 carbon atoms for every 52 hydrogen atoms in the molecule. So we're going to use those to help us calculate the molar mass. Now carbon, if you look on the periodic table, carbon has a molar mass of 12.01 grams per mole. And where you find that is on the periodic table below the chemical symbol. It's the number that has the decimal point, okay? And then for hydrogen, this one over here, hydrogen, the molar mass is 1.01 grams per mole. Okay, so now we know for one carbon it's 12.01, for one hydrogen it's 1.01. Now what if we have 25 carbons and 52 hydrogens? We just multiply 25 times 12.01, and then we have to add to that the 52 hydrogens, so 52 times 1.01, and when we do that, we get 300.25. That's all your carbons there. And then we're going to add to that all your hydrogens, and 52 times 1.01, this is 52.52. That's all your hydrogens. Okay, when you add all that together, you get 352.77 grams per mole. All right, and that's our molar mass. This is the molar mass of paraffin. I'm just going to write wax because I'm running out of space there. Okay, so the molar mass of the wax is 352.77. All right, I'll let you look at that for a second. In case there's any questions, we can pause the video and answer any questions. But I'm gonna get back into the next question in about 10 seconds here. Okay, So moving on to the second question, now we want to know how many moles of paraffin. So this, this just tells us the molar mass. So basically how many grams per mole. So if we have 1 mole of wax, it's going to weigh 352.77. And we have less than that. We only have 10 grams, so we have less than a mole. So that's something good to realize, so that when we do our math, if we have a number that's greater than 1, we did something wrong. So it should be a number smaller than 1 when we do this work here. Okay, and even though your number is going to be different from this one, I'm pretty sure your candle was much lighter than 352 grams. All right, but what we're going to do is to figure out how many moles, right? So that's what we're going to be ending up with, right? We want to know how many moles is our candle before it burned. How do we get there? So we're going to start with the measurement. So whatever you put here, right, your measurement for how massive was the candle before it burned, we're going to put that number here. So for me it's 10. Whatever you have, you put that number there. Now we want to get from grams to moles. We're going to be doing some dimensional analysis, some conversions. We need to put grams in the bottom, and we can relate grams to moles with the molar mass. All right, so grams on the bottom would be 352.77, and that's for 1 mole. All right, this allows us to cross-cancel the grams, and now if we do our math, our answer is going to be in moles, which is good. That's where we want our answer. So now we just do the mathematics here. So 10 times 1 is 10, and then we divide 352.77. When we do that, and we're going to round to the nearest hundredth place, we're going to get 0.03 moles. Okay, and that's the candle before it burns. Wax in candle before burning. Okay, so again, like if there's questions, we can pause the video and answer any questions, and I'll move on in about 10 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to move the paper a little bit, so we're going to lose, this from the frame. But what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how many molecules, and we're actually going to be using this answer to go here. So whatever you put here, you're going to put that answer here to figure out how many molecules. So I'm going to move this down. Okay, so we want our answer here in molecules. That gives us a direction to go, right? So we don't know the number, but we know that the unit is molecules, right? And this is in the candle before burning. I'll just say before burning. All right, so again, we're going to take, this is how many moles was in the candle before it burned. So we're going to put that here, because we calculated that, we know that. How do we get from moles to molecules? Dimensional analysis. So we're going to be putting a fraction, and we want to cross-cancel out moles. We're going to put moles in the bottom here. And how do we relate moles to molecules? With our favorite number, 6.02. I ran out of space a little bit, sorry. Times 10 to the 23rd. Okay, so that's how many molecules are in a mole. So remember, a mole is always this number, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd of whatever we want to count. And we can say whatever that is, molecules, atoms, pencils, backpacks, whatever we want to count, we can put there. It's always this number. Okay, so now we calculate. So again, putting this number into your calculator, it's 6.02. And then this times 10 part is represented by the EE button. So 6.02 EE23 is what we put into the calculator. All right, so let's calculate that. 6.03 times 6.02 EE23. We put that in the calculator, and what we get, and rounding to the nearest hundredth place, is 1.81 times 10 to the 22nd. So in your calculator, it'll say a number, and we're rounding it to 1.81, and then a little e, and then 22. We write it like this. So 1.81, little e, 22 is written like this. 1.81 times 10 to the 22nd molecules before burning. Okay, so I'll let that sit for a little bit. You can pause the video for questions. Okay, so now we want to know how many moles of paraffin were used up during the burning. Okay, we're going to do this the same way that we did this one here, except we need to use the mass of the candle that was burned. So we're going to go back here, and again, your number here might be different. So I want you to use your number that you put here. I'm using the number 1. If you have a different number here, and you probably do, you're going to use that number at the beginning here. So I'm going to write that here. But we want to know how many moles, so we're going to be moving our talking about grams into talking about moles. So how do we get from grams to moles? We're going to be using dimensional analysis. Okay, and how do we relate grams to moles? Again, we're looking at what we figured out up here, the molar mass. Okay, so this is grams per mole. So we're taking that number there, and we're going to be putting the grams in the bottom because we want to cross cancel the grams. So 352.77 grams for every 1 mole. All right, this allows us to cross cancel the grams, and now we just have moles as our only unit that is there. That's going to give us our answer in moles. So we just have to divide 1 divided by 352.77. Put that in the calculator, and we're going to round to the nearest hundredth, and it's 0.003 moles. And that's the wax in candle. Used in the burn. Okay, and that makes sense because if we say we burned 1 gram and it was originally 10 grams, then this number should be 1/10 of that number, and it is. Okay, so again, I'm going to pause for just a little bit, see if there's any questions. Pause the video. All right, so now the next question is, and the last question, yay, how many molecules of paraffin were used up? So again, what was used up? Now we're wanting to find molecules. In order to do that, we're going to take this number, whatever you have here. If it's different from this, you use your answer here. And we're going to start there, 0.003 moles. But we want our answer to be in molecules. All right, so whatever our answer is number-wise, the unit is going to be molecules. Okay, and this is going to be the wax used in the burn. Molecules of wax used in burn. All right, so how do we do this mathematically? Moving from moles to molecules. Again, we're using this conversion factor here, which is for every mole, there's 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd molecules. We're putting moles in the bottom because we want to cross cancel moles, right? Put molecules on top. And so 1 mole is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. This allows us to cross cancel the moles. And when we multiply, again, remember this is 6.02 EE23, and we're going to multiply 0.003 times 6.02 EE23. We put that into our calculator, and then we're rounding to the nearest hundredth place. It's 1.81. And then you're going to have a little e. You're going to represent, or you're going to write that down as times 10, and then the number 21 molecules of wax used during the burn. All right, so hopefully that helps you do your calculations, and I'm hoping that you actually used your data to do your calculation. Tomorrow we're going to do station 3, which is the station with the foil. That's going to be a lot more hands-on for you, and then we'll do calculations from that, and also do part 1 of station 4, which is chewing gum. Actually kind of fun, right? And then Thursday we'll finish station 4 and do station 5. Anything we need to finish, we have Friday to do that. Okay, then the last thing I want to tell you is that the grades for quarter 3 are due this week. So make sure if there's any last minute stuff you need to show me in Google Classroom, make sure you turn it in. A lot of people did not turn in a packet from last week. If you still need to do that, please do that. Turn in any papers to the front in the wooden bin right by my desk. Okay, hopefully that's helpful, and I will see you soon.